Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We're here in Brookshire County on our Pittsburgh Iron Line, and in this video we're going to extend this train line all the way up to the iron ore mines that sit high up on the plateau, and also we're going to start expanding our farms out by Portland so we can start to really ramp up some of our food production up there. And so we have these two lines fueling part of the steel mill here. I think what I want to do is upgrade our trains coming from the coal mine. Hopefully we can come up with some composition that will turn a profit, since our current coal train does not earn us a profit. So that'll be one of our goals. And then our other goal is to extend this set of tracks all the way up here to this train station that we have, so that hopefully we won't have to have this little shuttle line shipping the coal farther down the mountain to this train station. I think we finally have strong enough trains where we might be able to loop around this hump once, or maybe we can figure something else out that would work. But then at that point, hopefully then our train will be able to make us money as we come up and down this hill. And then I think what we're going to do is expand some of these farms. I think we're going to fill in this area, start to build up some of the land up here, get those farms going so that we can start to get more out of this food processing plant. Now we are pretty close to being at max capacity on this, but we can place down a second industry and really detail this area to make it look a lot nicer, since it's been quite a while since we've done anything in this area. And hopefully then that'll be producing enough food to fuel Salt Lake City, Houston, and Portland, all from this one complex here. And then we'll also be periodically checking up on our tools line here that we upgraded in the last video. We'll just make sure that our line rates work fine as these boats continue to spread out. But that'll be something we do closer to the end of the video. Alright, so let's get into this iron mine here. Now, I think the best way to go about this is to get rid of all of the road that we currently have in this area, just so we can build these tracks without having to worry about intersections or anything else like that. And so we'll delete this road all the way back to here where it reaches the edge of the cliff. We'll worry about what to do with that later once we get this working. But now we can pretty much focus on branching off from somewhere over here and then working our way up, around, and then into this set of tracks here. Alright, and so now we have one of our new trains coming into the steel mill. This is what the new track looks like. It follows pretty much the same route up until we reach the old train station, where then we split over onto a bridge, and then we start to wrap around this hill here. Now, I don't want to go into too much detail making this look nice until we know for sure that this route does work. So we're going to have to wait for one or two trips up and down the mountain. So we'll wait for that to happen, and then hopefully when we come back, we'll know for sure if this train works or not for this line. Alright, and so this train is close to being able to make money, but it's just not quite there. So we're going to do some few quick tweaks for this line. I think we do have room to make this train longer, so we'll do that. We'll add on probably close to 5 to 10 more cars, and then we're going to streamline some of the tracks going up the hill to try to maximize our top speed, because we do bleed off some speed going up these windy bits, but we can probably make this a little bit straighter, get a bit more top speed to shave off some time. And then I'm not a huge fan of this bridge, so we might straighten it out, and that might help as well. But we'll do some minor tweaks. We'll see if we can get this actually working and earning us a profit, and then hopefully then once we come back, we'll have something really nice to come back to. Alright, so I think this train is in a much better position now than it was before we fixed the tracks. I don't know if it's perfect yet. If we take a look at the whole line, it's a little hard to tell right now if this is actually worth it yet or not. I think we'll let these two trains just run as they are for now, and then we'll come back, and we can always just come back and double check that these are functioning and making us money. If they're not, I'm not really sure what more we can do, since we did already destroy our connection to this station. I don't really want to restart and build that back in. So if this doesn't work out, we might just be stuck with it until we get more powerful engines. So we might have to wait until we get into the diesel and electric era of engines, since this is already a pretty powerful steam engine, and it does have trouble going up such a steep slope all the way up here. And just due to it being such a roundabout way to the steel mill, we do lose a good amount of money just from the time it takes to get that iron down to the steel mill. But I do really like this line, and I think it is good for what it is. So I think we'll leave this alone. We'll do some final cleanup in this area, and then we'll upgrade our coal trains. And then I believe once we're done with that, we will be pretty much good in this area. We'll leave this off, and then maybe sometime in the future we'll come through and expand on these iron and coal mines once we feel like we need to. Alright, and so now we've done all of our tweaks to the iron line. We updated our coal trains. We could probably make these longer, as if we look at the line rate, this is still at 967, and then on our iron line we added another train to get that line rate up to pretty much 1200. So when we come back later on in the video to just check on this, we might increase the rate on our coal line. I just wanted to have 2 trains on here instead of 3, so that we don't clog up on this section here coming into the steel mill. So we might just end up having to add a few cars, but for now I think this area is okay. We still don't have much clarity on the finances for our iron line. I will say it isn't looking well, but to be honest, as long as we're fueling this steel mill enough, the steel should make up for the deficit that we run with this steam train here. And so moving on, I want to get more farms in this area. So I think we'll fill this area with fields, and then we'll start to lay out our roads for these areas. And we might even fill these, or one or two of these, with farms as well. We'll just have to see how long that takes and sort of the planning that we want to do for that. But we'll get farms in here, and then we will expand on this food processing plant. And then after we've done all that, I think we're going to start to recirculate some of these lines. We'll get no more trucks coming from this farm to this port. We might just have all of our trucks sending grain into the food processing plant. And then we'll just do something with that. And so I'm not too sure what's going to end up happening to this area. I'm not sure if we're just going to have just food coming on these boats down to this port, or if we have one of our truck lines bring goods on the return trip. But we'll figure out something to do with this small port. And so with that, let's get into expanding our farms. All right, and now we have 4 more farm industries placed in this area. I think this will probably be all of the farms that we'll have here. We might extend farther up here in the future, but I think I'm pretty happy with how this whole area ended up. I really like how big these farms are and sort of how much space they take up. This feels very realistic, and we can now start to build Portland sort of into these farms as we go on. So maybe some of these roads start to become main roads as we start implementing connections to other cities, or even highways. Maybe we have a highway coming through here and cutting through one of the fields. I'm not too sure, but I think this farm area is pretty built up and pretty much exactly what we need it to be. I think we probably have room for a few more builds like this across the map, since farms are probably the industry that need the most space, at least how we build them. So I'm pretty happy with this. Now, to finish it off, we will need to get in here to this food processing plant and start to build this area out. And so I think what we're going to do is we're going to build out this food processing plant, and then once we come back, we can then start to reroute these lines, upgrade them as needed, and work out any other hiccups that come along with all of these supply chains. Alright, now we have our upgraded food processing plant. We placed down a second industry over here and just added a few roads, changed some things just to make it make sense. Since we have the port here, we had to dip down with this road, so we turned this into just a patch of grass, and then we have room for expansion out here and over here. I think I'm going to wait to see what this industry looks like when it's fully upgraded to figure out what this edge is going to be. We sort of did something here just to sort of hide the rough edge, but I think this looks overall nice. We'll fill in this plot of land later once we unlock some more assets that we sort of have to wait to get to, but I think for now this actually looks really nice, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out. We upgraded to some paved roads, which really help, I think, bring it up to a modern look. And then, of course, it switches to a 4-lane highway for this short period, and then back into sort of a 2-lane country road. And so, taking a look at our truck stops, unfortunately, it looks like this stop all the way out here doesn't connect to this industry, and it looks like its farthest reach comes to this corner and this corner, so we're just out of reach for this one, but I think that's okay, as we'll probably be connecting more trucks up to this truck station, which will then feed this food processing plant instead. So it should all work out in the end. So speaking of that, we'll throw in a third terminal here to allow for a lot of that those extra trucks that are about to start coming through here. And then really, I think we just want to max this out. So we'll focus on getting, well, first it's 2-to-1 grain to food ratio. So for 2 food processing plants, that would be 1,600 food, which would then be 3,200 grain. And with a maxed out farm serving 400, 4 times 8 would be 32. So that means we would just have to max out all of these farms, bringing those to this food processing complex, which I think should be just fine. So we're going to come through, upgrade all of these truck lines to be the most up-to-date trucks, just so we have fewer vehicles running here. And then when we come back, we'll start to add in some of these extra lines and then evaluate from there sort of what we should be doing next. Alright, so we can see here, letting this run for a little bit, we're actually able to free up a lot of room on our roads for trucks. So if we sort of imagine what this will look like after we connect up our next 4 lines, we should pretty much just get double the trucks on here, which might not be too bad. We will have to keep an eye on it and make sure things don't go crazy, but I think it's definitely something doable. So let's prepare for that. First, with these, we will set the alternate terminal to expand to our third platform that we installed. And then we will come through and adjust these line rates later on as they start to get a little bit more accurate. I think they're jumping around a little bit just because there's some inconsistency from us adjusting earlier. We sold some vehicles, so the line rates might be a little inconsistent, but we'll come through later and worry about that after we set up all of our lines. So it looks like around 20 to 25 trucks is what we need for each line. So we'll start there. And then pretty much this will just be connecting up to each one of these farms, bringing them back to these platforms. I think we'll get another line coming to this one, and then the rest of them will connect up to this station here, just so we don't overload ourselves. but we'll be back after we quickly set up these 4 lines. Alright, so now we are starting to get our trucks out. It is going to take a while since we did get a lot all at once for it to flow through the system, but I think things are going well. I do think, however, after adding all these trucks, we are going to keep this boat line here, just so that, first of all, we don't continue overloading this road and our street network at the food processing plant, or at least until we have an accurate gauge of what this looks like once everything settles. And then also, these boats are a nice way to bring food back into Portland, so we might as well make use of it, taking grain into the food processing area anyway. So I think we'll leave it as is. We will, however, upgrade these boats. Let's just make sure. Yeah, these boats are still coming back half full. So I think first of all, we'll upgrade these boats. We'll keep the rate around 400, so around the same. And so taking a look at our boats, I think we're going to go with this one here. That greatly improved our line rate, so we will sell a couple of these so that we can get back down to the 400s. And 406, I'm okay with that number. I don't even think Portland needs, well, Portland does need about 400, so I suppose our next step is actually fixing where we're dropping off the food, but I think we're dropping it in a pretty good location here. That does cover most things. I think it's just the rate of these trucks. So let's upgrade these. We'll get these small tarpaulin trucks. Those should help out a little bit. I think we'll keep the same amount because we are still under the 450 rate for Portland. However, I'm not sure if this station covers a lot of that, but we'll keep it anyway. We will make a street connection here. Now these streets are pretty bad. I think we're definitely going to look at fixing Portland's streets again pretty soon, just because it is starting to do some weird things and growing into some areas we want to start protecting. So that'll probably be pretty high up on our list, especially now that we have our farms sorted out. We have sort of an edge for the city here. But anyway, moving on, I think things are looking pretty well here. Looks like our farms are starting to ramp up to speed, and I think that's pretty much covers everything we wanted to do in this video. And so let's take a look at everything we've done so far in this video, and then when we come back, we will take a look at our iron train and the new lines out by the steel mill. Make sure those are running okay, or at least at an acceptable amount, and then we'll talk about some next steps and future projects. Alright, and so here we are on our iron ore line that we made. You can see the pretty nice view that we get as we slowly climb around this hill. But let's take a look at what our finances look like now. So if we come in here, take a look at the line and the finances, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. If we take a look here at the numbers, it looks like we're running at just over a $1 million deficit on this line, which is a bit annoying that that's what's happening, but given the circumstances of the line, I don't think it's that bad. I think if we give it a few more years, we unlock some more powerful engines and maybe some more efficient cars far later on in the future. I think we can start to turn a profit on this line. We might be able to find a balance now to make something work. Maybe it is just a matter of adding 2 to 5 more cars onto each train and that would solve it. But I think I'll play around with that off camera, and if we find the solution, we'll just make that change between videos. If not, we'll just wait until we unlock some more powerful trains. But I think all things considered, this turned out pretty well, and we can see we're finally getting some iron here at the steel mill. We're starting to really get some steel waiting for these trains, and so we can see now we're getting some pretty good consistency on our goods train, where we actually are making money, given the fact that it does run empty on the return trip. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's just take a quick look at one of our coal trains and see what this is looking like. And so this one's a little bit trickier to figure out exactly what's going on, but it does appear on average we're at least breaking even. So there's some good things there, but for the coal line, it's much easier to just slap on a few more cars and make money that way. So that's what we'll probably end up doing, especially considering the line rate on these coal trains is a bit lower, or significantly lower than the iron trains. So that's also probably something that we'll do. In fact, we can probably just do that right now real quick. So we threw on 6 more cars on each to get them up to 30 cars for each train. We'll have to wait to see what happens there, but overall, I'm pretty happy with the end result here. Alright, and so now just checking in on our food processing plant here. It does look like we have a good amount of traffic starting to build up at this intersection. I will hold off on making any changes just to give these lines a bit more time to maybe sort them out. Maybe this is just an influx of traffic. I'm not sure, but we will let this run for a bit longer, and then maybe next video, if this is still a problem, we'll come in and fix it. But I'm pretty happy with how all of this came out. I think the farms actually look very nice. If we get down here at like street level, I think this is a really nice farm area. I think the roads look nice, the fields look nice, everything's spaced out far enough. There's a few finishing touches I think we can add, just touching up these lakes a bit more, but for the most part, I'm really happy with how all this came out. And so thinking about next steps and future projects, I think for Portland, I really want to expand it. It's really starting to push its boundaries of where it can grow, and especially with this huge influx of food, we are going to need to figure something out for Portland to grow. So I think we'll pretty much cap off this area and then fill this in with a grid or just a road network, much like we did in Tacoma. And so we'll pretty much just build a whole new neighborhood for Portland to grow into, and hopefully that will be able to serve the city for quite some time. Maybe we'll build out a few guide roads on this side of the river, although the city hasn't built anything out here, and then expanding this system out along the river would probably greatly help as well. And so speaking of Tacoma, we can see it is starting to grow into these streets here, and if we take a look, it is slowly climbing towards its target population. I think there is some weird things going on that we could fix, but I think the city is doing just fine. It just needs the time to grow into this area. Of course, we can always expand out this way. And then I think along with Portland, Lincoln desperately needs something. I know we've been talking about it for quite a while, but I've been wanting to get some other projects finished first before we did this. So I think next video will be largely dealing with cities. So I think we'll take a good look at Lincoln, fix these roads, fill out this area over here, fill out this area up on the hill. And I'm not sure if Lincoln wants to extend across the river. I think I kind of like keeping it on this side, and we'll have this sort of built up waterfront here. But we'll just have to see how badly the city wants to grow in the future. Roswell has now actually almost completely filled out all of these new roads that we built. It is surprisingly still nowhere near its target population, and I'm not sure how we can best get it there. I'm not sure if it's just a time thing, if it's still growing and it's just not growing quick enough. Although there isn't an arrow here, which means it's not growing, but this chart does seem to show otherwise, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. Hopefully it does end up building out on this road. I think this could be a nice high density area for Roswell to build into. But I think we'll be done with Roswell for a little bit. If anything, we might do more with this goods factory now that we've seen that it does work. And then we do have this small mountain town that we want to build by the lake. I think this might be its own separate sort of special video, since I'm thinking about pretty much doing a custom city here. So that might just be its own video within itself. It'll be probably something a little bit different than how we usually do videos, since it would just be focused solely on the town. But that is still something I really want to get into. I just want to make sure our map is running fine before we sort of take those next steps. And so I think with that, we're going to end this video off here. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.